Hey everyone, Michael O'Brien here with more advice for magicians. Now, just a little while ago I had someone ask me, what do I need to do to stop getting caught while I'm doing magic? I'm performing magic tricks, and more often than not, someone stops me in the middle of the trick and says, oh, I saw that. Or maybe at the end of my performance, they might say, hey, that was cool, but I caught XYZ. So in this video, we're gonna just talk about 3 ways you can do that. Before I get into it, I wanted to thank all of you so much for checking out this video. To all of my subscribers who are constantly supporting, commenting, and encouraging discussion on my videos, I really appreciate you guys a lot. And for all of my new viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you like this video, and if you do, you wanna see more videos like it, please go ahead and click the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can see notifications for future videos. But anyways, enough of my yakking. Let's get into the content of this video. Now, the first one, you're probably gonna roll your eyes, but honestly, practice, practice, practice. Now, there's a saying, of course, that practice makes perfect. It's almost true. The honest truth is that, perfect practice makes perfect. So not only do you need to practice, but you need to make sure that you're practicing properly. Now, in the description below in this video, I'm gonna link you guys to another video I did called How to Practice Properly. I highly suggest you check that out if you haven't already. I'm gonna break down for you how I actually go out and practice. And spoiler alert, it doesn't end with you just sitting in your room in front of a mirror practicing moves all day. In order to practice properly, you are gonna have to go out into the field, and you are going to have to, actually practice in front of live people, which means you may get caught. Now, the more you practice and the more you perform for people, the less likely you are to get caught. So practice is really an important aspect of it. You should also make sure that you're practicing the moves properly so that you can execute them in such a way that you're not gonna get caught. The moves shouldn't flash. You should be made aware of your angles. If a move is angle sensitive, you need to make sure that people are just in front of you so that they're not gonna see anything from the back, for example. Jeff McBride has a nice quote. It goes something like, if your sleight of hand is causing you to break eye contact from your spectators, the sleight of hand is too advanced for your skill level. So you really should be able to perform most of your magic and make eye contact. Now, I'm not saying you can never look at your hands, but if you're just performing like this, and here, pick a card, and okay, we're gonna put your card back in the deck, and you're just looking down at your hands, and you're not, making any eye contact with your spectators at all, you're probably gonna get caught. And the reason for that is because your eyes will create misdirection. You can use your eyes and, just things that you say to get your spectators to not burn your hands so much. So if you're looking down at your deck or the coins in your hands or whatever you're performing with, and you never look up, guess where your spectators' eyes are gonna be? They're probably just gonna be staring at your hands, which means any important sleight of hand that requires misdirection, it's not gonna work because they're just burning your hands. So it's very important to make sure that you're performing your moves not only efficiently, but also with confidence. Confidence, timing, misdirection, all of these things are gonna help you so that you get caught less. But like I said, if you don't practice any of these things, or at least make yourself aware of these things, actively think about them during your performance, chances are you're gonna get caught more often than not. So making sure that you're practicing is very, very important. And like I said, it's not just practicing the moves itself, but all of the things that come along with a performance. Now, the second thing is use getting caught as a learning experience. So for example, let's just say you do get caught, you do get called out. You should ask, what did you see? Maybe at the end of your performance, take the person that called you out aside and say, hey, I noticed that you saw something. What exactly did you see? Maybe they'll say, oh, when you went to put that coin in your hand, I saw you take it back out of your hand really quickly and then pretend like it disappeared. I know that you didn't really put the coin in that hand. So what that tells me is that my retention vanish is flashing. Maybe I need to work on that better. Or maybe the person was standing exactly to the side to me, directly to my side, and they were able to see the retention vanish because maybe the retention vanish is angle sensitive. So use these moments to learn from it. If you're getting caught over and over and over again at the same part of the routine, you know that there's an issue with that in that point during the effect. Maybe you need to change something. Maybe the pattern isn't working right. Maybe the misdirection isn't strong enough. Maybe you're just flashing the move. So use these opportunities to grow when you get caught and ask for feedback. Now, I'm not saying you need to pause the trick and ask for feedback during the routine, but maybe when you're done performing, you can take someone aside and you can say, hey, I noticed you saw this. Can you tell me what you saw? And maybe, do you have any advice on how to improve it? Oftentimes, you'll notice that your spectators will give you the exact advice that you need because they are the ones that you're performing for, and they are the ones that saw it. So, it really depends. Another thing you can do is perform for magicians. Now, obviously, when you're performing for magicians, they are going to catch you more often than a layman would, just because as magicians, we are programmed to see sleights. So if you're able to fool any of your magician friends, kudos to you. That means that the misdirection in the performance is strong enough that it will even fly over your magician friends' heads. But performing for a magician and then asking for feedback might be beneficial as well. Maybe they will see some sort of weakness in your presentation or your misdirection or your sleight of hand. If they see you flashing, like if they saw the coin go from one hand to the other, again, they can help you with these things. They can tell you exactly what it is that you need to do and how to fix it. Now, this last one is going to seem, kind of silly, I guess. Maybe some people might not understand right away what I'm talking about. But for the third one, you should not perform tricks. Now, what do I mean by this exactly? If you're framing your presentation as a trick, or maybe, for example, hey, I'm gonna do something clever that you're not gonna be able to figure out, or hey, I bet you won't see this, chances are more than likely you're gonna get caught. And the reason is because you are unintentionally creating a heckler. Now, a heckler is just someone that is trying to figure out your trick and trying to ruin it for you. Now, a heckler doesn't necessarily need to be malicious. A heckler might try to figure out your trick and ruin it without realizing that they're being rude. They might honestly think of it as like a game that they need to figure out the trick. And if they can guess it right, then they win the game. So it's your job as the performer to avoid performing a trick or making a game out of it. If the presentation is a gambling demonstration, for example, like a 3-card Monte, where they have to guess where the card is and it is a game, that's a different story. But for example, let's just say you're performing an ambitious card routine, right? And the idea is to put a card into the deck and make it come up to the top of the deck. If you frame the ambitious card routine as, I bet you're not going to see the card come up to the top, and then you put it in the middle of the deck, and then it comes up to the top, and then they see your sleight because they're burning your hands and trying to catch every little thing that you do, again, chances are you're probably going to get caught. So it's a good idea to try to frame your magic in such a way that it doesn't put you against the audience, but rather you bring the audience with you along on a magical journey. Something that's going to allow them to suspend their disbelief. Because the suspension of disbelief is the most important thing to any magic performance. You need to not only be entertaining, but you also need them to set aside their belief for a second. People know that obviously human beings cannot levitate. They know that there's probably some kind of wire or some kind of apparatus or something that's assisting you from a levitation. But if you can frame the magic in such a way that it appeals to their emotions, whether it's funny or it makes them, cry or evoke some kind of emotional response, they are not going to think so much about how the trick is done, and rather they're going to appreciate the art, and they're going to just want to be immersed in this experience that you're providing from them. So figuring out how to do that is very, very important. For me personally, one of the easiest ways to do this is to simply make the patter, to routine the patter in such a way that, again, you're bringing them along in this magical journey. Oftentimes, I will have the audience help me perform the magic. So for example, in my ambitious card routine, I'll put the card into the deck and I'll say, it's really interesting when the card goes in the middle of the deck, if I just do this move like this with my fingers, the card actually comes right up to the top. That's kind of cool, right? But you know what's even cooler than me doing this and having the trick work is you doing it and having it work. You want to try? And then I let them put the card into the deck, I let them do the magical move, and then the card comes up to the top. So a couple of things are happening here. Number one, I'm getting them directly involved, which means the chances of them burning my hands and trying to ruin the trick, though again, like I said, it might be unintentional. They might not actively want to ruin your trick, but if it's presented as a trick, the chances of them doing that are higher. So getting them involved might, lower the chances of them focusing so hard on trying to figure it out, but more like, oh cool, something cool is going to happen that I get to help with. So just different things to think about. So the too long didn't read, or I guess too long didn't watch version of this is you need to focus on 3 things to prevent you from getting caught less often. Number one, make sure that you're practicing, making sure that you're polished, and that means getting out of your room and out from behind the camera and not just performing for yourself, but actually going in the real world and performing for people, which means you're gonna get caught. Now, this is where number 2 comes in. You're going to take any feedback that you get from people where you get caught, and you're going to apply that feedback. Take notes. This spectator saw this spectator saw that. Try to figure out why and how you can fix it in the future so that it doesn't happen. The idea is to minimize the amount of times that you get caught. Because even I get caught every once in a while. Maybe I might accidentally flash, or I might forget about the person that's standing up on the step that's looking down, and I can see everything. So really take all of these things into consideration. And then number 3, make sure that you're framing your routine in such a way that it doesn't put you against the audience. You're not performing tricks or I bet yous or I bet you can't figure outs. What you want to perform is a magical experience that they will enjoy. Try to evoke some kind of emotion from them, whether it's a funny story or anything like that, to try to get them to suspend their disbelief so that they're more likely to be engaged with the magic and have fun, rather than just sitting there trying to figure out how the trick is done the whole time. Because the less they're focusing on how the trick works, and the more that they're just having a good time and enjoying it, the less likely you are going to get caught. And also, it kind of takes the stress off of you, because you don't just have all eyes on you trying to figure out what you're doing, but you're sharing the experience with everyone. So it really makes the whole experience fun for everyone, including yourself, which might lower your nerves even a little bit and make you a little less anxious, a little less nervous, and just having a really good time. But anyway, I hope that answered some questions for you guys on how to get caught a little bit less. Again, my name is Michael O'Brien, and I really wanted to thank you so much for tuning into this video. Again, if you want to see more videos just like it, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications, and feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below letting us know different ways that you personally, different steps that you guys have taken to kind of minimize the amount of times that you got caught. Maybe I missed something, and maybe you have some good advice to share with everyone else. Again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep practicing.